So when I came here, they told me, so my talk should be interesting, should put some experiences into it, and it should be inspiring for you guys. And yesterday in the morning, they told me, Ali, you have only 18 minutes. And this is a big problem, because I'm a Persian guy. Who knows Persian people? Raise your hand for a second. Whoa, okay. For the other ones in the audience, a quick introduction to the Persian culture, okay? This is so important for my talk now, believe me. When you switch on television these days, you will see we are the guys with the atom bomb, okay? This is us. We're also the most famous carpet sellers in the world. So if you need a carpet, I have a few ones outside in my car, okay? So just show me your badge. I will give, yeah. When you come to Europe, especially to the airports, you will see that 90% of the taxi drivers in Europe, they are from Iran. So we are really famous for being the best taxi drivers in the world. But in Iran, you know it's always the same. If you fail at the final taxi exam, you need to work in a hospital as a doctor, okay? So I'm not a doctor, I'm not a taxi driver, but what we all share is we talk a lot, sometimes too much, sometimes too fast, but always too much. Therefore, if I need more than 18 minutes, okay, don't blame me, okay? This is not my fault, okay? This is based on my DNA. My mother told me yesterday, yeah. Talking about my DNA. Whoever asked you where you want to be born? Whoever asked you who your parents should be? I know it sounds funny, but it's a fact. Life starts by chance, and you have no chance to control it. I was born in the year 81 in Iran, in Tehran, nearly 34 years ago. When I was 2 years old, my parents had to flee, and we ended up living in Austria. I grew up in a refugee camp outside of Vienna for nearly 7 months. And when I was 14 years old, I had no idea what to do with my life. But the problem was that all of my teachers, they always asked me, Ali, what do you want to do with your life when you grow up? And the problem was, so I was just 14 years old. I had no idea what to do. And I always said to my teachers, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea what to do with my life. But at that time, there was one thing that really helped me out. And it was talking to adults about their life, about their hopes, about their dreams, about the things they've learned. And when I was 14 years old, I said to myself, it would be great to have something like a handbook of life stories, with stories from people from all around the world, all answering the same questions into one book. And the book should be free to the world for all people out there who have no idea what to do in their life, no matter if they were 14 years old or 99. I talked to my teachers about the idea, and she laughed at me and she said to me, Ali, it's a nice idea, it's a wonderful idea, but how should that work? The world is not connected. And she was totally right. 20 years ago, the world was not connected. A few years later, 6 months before my 8th term, I quit school. My mother cried nearly for a month. Okay, so my mother always cries when I change direction. It's totally normal. And I started to clean floors. I started to work. In the meantime, until today, I had more than 40 jobs in my life. And when you clean floors and you're a school dropout, you see that it's not the best entry point into your career. Therefore, I went back to school. I finished also university next to my full-time job, so alongside all of my jobs. And when I finished university, I started to work in a real job. I was a sales consultant for a large US company. I was 27. I had everything. I had the car, I had the income, I had the stock options, I had a great job title on my business card, and I had the look. And then my father died. Suddenly, at the age of 53, he died. And it brought me to rethink my whole life. And with the help of friends, I found out that I was the biggest asshole in the room. I was just working for money and for the fame. After my father died, I had a burnout syndrome. I was not able to work anymore, so my brain was empty. I was not able to buy 4 things on a list from a supermarket. I totally hit rock bottom of life. And this experience, it motivated me to change my whole life. And it brought me back to society as a teacher. And in 2010, nearly 5 years ago, I started to work as a teacher in Austria. And while I was working with the kids, I always asked them the same questions so my teachers asked me when I was a kid. I asked the kids, what do you want to do with your life when you grow up? And you know what? They gave me the same answers I gave to my teachers when I was a kid. All of the kids said, we don't know. But when I was a kid, I had the idea of the handbook of life stories. But at that time, the world was not connected. But in the meantime, the internet was invented. And nearly 4 years ago, with the help of the internet, I launched a website, the Handbook of Life Stories, with just 16 stories from people from all around the world, all answering the same questions about their life, their hopes and their dreams, and the things they've learned in their life. In the last 4 years, we collected nearly 5,000 stories from more than 100 nations from all around the world, all answering the same questions about their life, their background, and the things they've learned. Currently, we're reaching out to 1 million people a month, and approximately 50 people from 15 nations are working on the project. And here is what we found out after talking to nearly 5,000 people. When I was a kid, I learned that in life, there is one straight line for your career. I learned that when you finish school or university, you start to work in a job, and when you do the things in the right way, you will walk your way along the path. And one day you will end up being the CEO or something like that. So what we learned after talking to nearly 5,000 people was that more than 85% of 5,000 people who submitted their story on our platform told us that their life was not a straight line. Instead, it was a zigzag. It was not a straight line. It was a zigzag. And that fact brings me to a total new perspective on life I want to share with you today. You don't know when your life starts, and you don't know when it's going to end. Be honest to yourself. Maybe today is the last day of your life. Tomorrow a car could hit you and game's over. There's no plan B for life. No one ever asks you who your parents should be or where you want to be born. You have no influence on the color of your skin, your origin, where you're from, and you don't know when life's going to end. And life could be long or it could be short, but life is a game of dice. And what I try to tell you is, the only thing you can do is you can change your life every day. You can think about what you want to do every day, but don't plan for the future. In life, so what I try to tell you is, you shouldn't try to meet the expectations of other people. You shouldn't try to walk in the footsteps of others. And you shouldn't try to live the hopes and the dreams of other people. You don't know what's around the corner, and also, to be honest, also your best friend, your girlfriend, or your husband was once a stranger to you. And you should enjoy the uncertainty of life. You really should enjoy that you don't know what's around the corner, because this is the beauty of life. And I urge you, so I challenge each one of you in that room to find your own zigzag in your life. But don't waste your time. Thank you.